Hey, what's up folks? It's Greg from Fisherman's Headquarters, and today is Friday, September 12th. I'm up here on the Mid-Island Surf, Long Beach Island, here to share an updated fishing report with you folks on this beautiful Friday morning. It's about 8 a.m. here. As you see, not a cloud in the sky. It's a beautifully light wind day. We've had some breezy ones recently. Yesterday afternoon, it really dropped out. Yesterday was a beautiful day for sure, especially in the second half. And today looks like a good one. Looks like we got some good weather up ahead here. Got a light northerly breeze coming along the beaches. As you see, there's a little bit of a swell, residual swell left over. I don't know, call it 1 to 2 foot range right now. I'd say it's out of the, say east-northeast direction. See, there's a little bit of a shore break kind of pounding around. It's about mid-tide right now. About, like I said, about 8 a.m. I think high was about 5:30 this morning. I'm sorry, low was 5:30 this morning. I believe that the high tide is about 11-ish. And then I think you'll see it again, that low tide about 5:30 this afternoon. And then you got sunset at 7 p.m., about 7 p.m. this evening. Right now, Long Beach Island, I can share there are some fish around in the bayside, in the inlet, and also the surf. If you're looking to get in on some action, I would suggest tog fishing up Barnegat Inlet rocks, fishing crabs, fishing green crabs or sand fleas. That fishery's been pretty strong since it opened. It's been open for well over a month. Mostly smaller fish so far, but as those water temperatures cool, which they are cooling, you'll see better fish showing up. You see better catches too, but a lot of smaller fish for sure. Some anglers that are fishing for the tog, that are fishing sand fleas, are also catching some sheepshead. There's been some sheepshead caught recently. If you tune into fishinglbi.com, that's a fish report blog that I published for a long time. You'll see some of those recent catches over the last couple of reports I posted, say the past week or two. You also see a couple recent catches here in the local area off the surf and also the inlet. Yesterday we had a fluke photo sent in, a 23-inch fluke. Get that fish in the inlet. Share a little more about the inlet in a moment. But for sure, there's fluke up there. There's some bluefish up there. There's also a good shot at tog. On the surf side of things, where I'm up here on the beach now, there's definitely some bluefish here. I saw Glenn got a nice bluefish. I think that was yesterday afternoon, fishing off the surf. I think he was in the mid-island north, something like that, but it doesn't really matter. The whole LBI is productive fishing here in the fall. We should have a good crack at kingfish for a few more weeks. The waters are cooling. Water temperature right now about 68 to 70 degrees, maybe a little above 70. But for the most part, if I had to put my my thermometer in there, I'd call it right around 70-ish, right in that low 70 degrees, right at the high 60s. That brink is where things are really shifting gears out of the summertime season. I guess officially it still is summer, but it sure feels a whole lot like fall since that hurricane came through and shifted gears. Had a lot of northerly winds, some cooling temperatures. Things are definitely changing. We just had the full moon recently. Full moon's gonna get that bait moving. It's gonna get the peanut bunker that are stacked up, moving closer to the inlets and eventually out. It's got the mullet moving around. We've had some fresh mullet in the shop. Haven't seen mullet pushing up and down the beach yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if somebody said they've already seen a couple. Most of that's in the bay, and it's more close proximity to the inlet. Speaking of the bay, there are some blowfish around. It hasn't been spectacular this year, but they are there. Definitely an opportunity to take advantage of if you want to get in a little bayside, say anchored up blowfish, puffer fishing, looking for some blow toads. There's also fluke around in the bay. The main channels still have fluke. They've been there all summer. We got until September 25th on the fluke game. Some better fish actually being caught in the bay closer to the inlets, closer proximity. I've been mentioning that last couple reports. Be fishing some bigger baits. You'll find those bigger fish, but there are an abundance of smaller fluke in the bay. When the weather allows, when the sea surface conditions allow and the wind, the fluke fishing and nearshore wrecks and reefs should be good right till the end of the season. It was very good before the hurricane. Things kind of got a little churned up. Been a few reports here and there since then. Don't want to say it's back to what it was. Maybe the best has already passed us. That we'll see how that goes. But normally we have great fluke fishing all of September, right to the end of the season. And honestly, if we had a season in October, it'd probably be good in October too. There's fluke on the beach. There's kingfish on the beach. There's bluefish on the beach. There's been a few striped bass around as well. If you check into the Long Beach Island Surf Fishing Classic, that's LBISFC.com, you'll see the live results of the Long Beach Island Surf Fishing Tournament. We started that event a month early this year. That tournament goes until November 30th. There's dailies, there's weeklies, there's different bonus prizes, a lot of different prizes there for kingfish, for bluefish, for striped bass, fluke, a few other bonus prizes there. But check that out if you want to join. If you want to see the live results for what's happening, you'll see a number of fish got weighed in here in the past week or so. I guess we're on week 2 of the tournament. You'll see the striped bass on the board. You'll see there's kingfish, bluefish, and fluke, and tog. So we kind of have all the species getting caught. We had a really good, strong start, so it's great to see. I believe that the earlier adjustment, the earlier start, was a big asset, or it was a big adjustment that really, I think, set a tone for what the early spring, the early fall has to offer here in LBI. We've got some really good quality fishing in the summertime. We've got some really good quality fishing in the fall. And with the tournament always starting in October, we always missed out on that September kind of time frame. So it's great to see that adjustment is paying off. A lot of anglers coming to the shop. They're stoked to be participating. They're stoked to be out catching. That's what it's all about. It's a community event. So if you're looking to get involved in that, it's $40 to sign up. All 3 tackle shops in LBI, you can sign up and also weigh in at. As far as the inlet that I talked about before, I shared a little bit about some tog, a little about sheepshead. There's some bluefish up there, some fluke, and I could also say there's some sharks. Not sure if anybody's been paying attention to the Instagram here at Fisherman's Headquarters, but I posted up a video that got sent in from Austin Pounds and also the Jetty jockeys. What I can share is they've been catching some really big sharks night after night. A couple days back, it's 3 or 4 days ago, earlier this week, Austin Pounds stopped in the shop and was saying, hey, I saw some spinner sharks jumping out. Just mentioned it, said it was pretty cool, said he got some heavier gear. Long story short is they've been putting some time in and they've been catching some really big bull sharks. If you've been, like I said, following my Instagram, or if you follow Jetty Jockeys on Instagram or Austin Pounds, you will see what's been going on. We're not talking little peanuts. These are some really big sharks. They actually fishing a live eel. I guess this was last night. Got a pretty good sized striped bass chopped in half. Tossed that striped bass head back out, and within seconds they were hooked up with another monster. Some of these nights they're catching three plus fish an evening. We're talking really big bull sharks. So anybody who's swimming up in that neighborhood up there might want to be a little more, say, careful of those toes. Watch those tootsies. I don't really think they're out there looking for white meat, or but they're sharks, and they live in the ocean, right? They live in the bay. I spent a number of years tagging sandbars and sand tigers in the bay for Dutton Labs at Monmouth University. Keith Dutton also tagging them with acoustic telemetry, acoustic tags, acoustic receivers, putting in their bellies, and also some string tags. Gray's Fish Tag put a number of string tags in some sharks over the years. There's plenty of sharks around here in LBI all summer long in the bay, all summer long in the ocean, and as the water cools here in late summer, they're still here. So I just kind of wanted to share that. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I will also plug in here at the end. Be sure to check out the past report or two that I shared about the hazard in the Barnegat Lake Channel, just west of the Barnegat Lighthouse. Old Barney, right next to it, buoy 16 is shoaled up pretty good. It's really in the area of 14, 16, 18, call it in there. Don't want to dive into that right now, but just saying there's a hazard there at 16, that sandbar is encroaching on the main navigable channel. Definitely don't want to be transiting too close to buoy 16. Give a little distance there. One other thing I want to mention is that the striped bass, meetings are coming up here. We've got some action that's being taken place or being proposed. However you feel on it, whether you think it should remain in status quo because you believe it's very restrictive, and because you want to harvest the fish, or if you wanted to protect at the most of the ability to meet the deadline by 2029, which would be some closures that are coming down the pike, depending on where you lie on that, where you sit and stand. Definitely show up to the meetings. It doesn't matter if you're a New Jersey angler or resident, or if you're a Pennsylvania resident angler. Pennsylvania has a meeting coming up here. I'll post the meeting dates in the description below. I'll just say that we got a meeting here in Stafford. I think it's next week. There's, I think, another one the following week. There's a number of them coming up here. There'll be a bunch of them, both in person and virtual. It's very important for all striped bass anglers to read the document, to understand the document, and to share their public comment, so the representatives and the management board has a better handle on, or the best handle they could have on, the public's wishes and kind of where the majority lies. And what I'll basically just share is that I don't want to go too far into the weeds with this. You can crucify me now or crucify me later. That's great. I'm looking for a striped bass stock that is going to be abundant into the future. I have a 5-year-old son. Actually, today's his birthday. 6-year-old son, and also a 1-year-old son as well. I'm second generation in the Fisherman's Headquarters bait and tackle business. I want my kids to also have a future in the business if they so choose. I had a pleasure being brought up in the business, working as a kid in a tackle shop, and I hope my kids have the same, experience and opportunity. What I can say is that regulations have kind of went down some slippery slopes in some ways. There's been some success stories and some failures. I think Magnuson-Stevenson Act needs some reform. It just seems to me that the better the fishery is, the better the anglers can get out and enjoy themselves and catch fish, the more we get crucified. MRIP numbers are always sky high, it seems. Whether you agree with them on one side or disagree with the other side, there is, I went to a webinar last year in regards to NOAA Fisheries, NOAA put it on, where they were explaining issues and they were gonna kind of revamp it all. And that there was, acknowledgement that it was 30 to 40% off. And on one side of the coin, you look at that error, say deviation, whatever you may call it, and you might say, okay, well, that works in this favor, but it doesn't work in that favor. So depending on which argument you take, it's good to know that MRIP is not perfectly accurate, especially with these revisions in near term, say data. It's a little better than say stretched out. But we were on track to rebuild by 2029, which is the plan. It's what the management plan sets forth to accomplish. Basically, the updated information from MRIP said that we overfished. Our effort was too high, and we need to cut back. We need to cut back harvest. So the only way to cut back harvest when you have a couple-inch slot limit, 28 to 31 we got right now coastwide, is to get some closures. My personal take on things is I believe there will be a cut. I believe that there will be closures, and I believe that the 2026 benchmark stock assessment will come out, and then we'll be taking another cut on top of that. We'll have cut on top of cut, top of cut. It's happened before, it's gonna happen again. It's just a realization of the hamster wheel that we're in. Like I said at the beginning of this, don't crucify me for my opinion, but this is the way I feel. I think right now the best plan of attack is status quo. The reason why I say status quo is we have a lower mortality right now because of the very strict regulations with the slot limit. It's doing its job. It's not doing its job quick enough because the fishing has been good in some areas. We look back a couple years and you'll see we had some pretty good runs in the fall. Certain areas, say localized, are better. Certain areas are terrible. Whether you point that towards a lack of, say, body of fish, biomass of fish, the spawning stock biomass definitely has an increase. The data shows that it is on the uptrend there. It doesn't seem to me that we had this massive crisis going back many years. You'll see that some of those targets that were set on the charts were at somewhat of an all-time high. I don't want to say that we can never accomplish those, but it's going to be very, very challenging, very, very difficult, especially with these consecutive 5-6 plus years of very, very dismal young of the year spawns. So without that strong recruitment, without a good year class here or a good year class there, we're struggling. Now, with that 28 to 31 slot, we're protecting the smaller fish, we're protecting the bigger fish. So you're trying to keep that spawning stock biomass as strong as possible. You want that to recover. You need that fecundant female population within the stock. You also need to protect the smaller fish that are kind of up and coming. You need to give them a chance to spawn a couple times before we can target them. Issue that I see here is that a lot of these problems, yes, because we're catching a lot of fish die from harvest, catch release mortality, commercial harvest, what have you, natural, mortality as well. But the main problem, the crux of the issue here is really mortality. The crux of the problem with this most recent, say, adjustment of what we need to kind of swallow, this kind of sour data is kind of the MRIP updated information saying that we overfished, which is why we're having these recent cuts right now. And it's kind of squirrely to look at MRIP, but I don't get too far into those weeds like I mentioned before. But we have the issue of recruitment, and we have the issue of identifying the problems. I don't want to take the easy way out and just blame it on the environment, but there's a lot of different conditions or a lot of different factors, we'll say a myriad of factors that all come to play to make a good spawn. It's temperature, it's flow, whether you have a wet or cold spring and winter. It sounds like there's potentially an issue with zooplankton, so the larvae not having, say, the nutrients that they need, the food they need to be nurtured properly and grow properly and kind of things to work. A lack of zooplankton or the timing due to temperature. It could be something to do with it. We call it climate change, warming waters, shifting of patterns. I know we've seen that with a lot of different other species, the northern shift of things from more warming water. But Chesapeake Bay is responsible for about 80% of the striped bass coast-wide stock, and Chesapeake Bay is not doing so great. There's a number of issues, like I mentioned, some of the runoff, something that I've seen in the past year or two kind of being discussed, other than the zooplankton, obviously is the blue catfish, invasive species. Blue catfish are definitely going to do a number on the young of the year. There's information in regards to that online for sure. And I see that, they were actually put in there in the Chesapeake Bay by Virginia they were stocked to create a better fishery for recreational. It's good sustainable fishing, good sustainable meat. It looks like we need to target those more, fish those down, or get them the hell out of there, but I think getting them out of there is impossible. Cormorant's also another issue. Everybody's, here in LBI, local area here, probably have noticed we've got cormorants out the yin-yang. We have so many cormorants this past summer. Their population has boomed. It's the same thing down there. It's an issue. I will say, without getting into the weeds, there is another topic of endocrine disruptors, some runoff issues, say some pollutants that are very well maybe adjusting or altering the reproduction of a lot of different species. But I can tell you the blue cats are an issue, the cormorants are an issue, and the blue cats, especially for blue claw crabs as well. There's a number of different issues. Like I said, I don't want to point at one or the other or use that as a scapegoat and say that's the answer and blame it on the environment. And we need to take action and do what we can. And I believe that the 28 to 31 slot is doing its job. I believe that the striped bass should be a game fish species like New Jersey's made it. I think that's deep down in my heart. I believe the striped bass are much more valuable to the recreational sector as they are, say, table fare. There's obviously commercial fishermen that would hate me for that. There's commercial fishermen in New Jersey, say gill netters, that used to target striped bass once upon a time. But through a long fight, we got New Jersey's commercial striped bass season closed, and that was actually, that quota was given, a portion of that quota was given back to the recreational anglers, and that's our bonus tag program. Being from New Jersey, I don't want to, sound like radical, but I think that the bonus tag program should be closed or limited right now due to the, we need the smaller fish to come up and recruit through, come up through that slot. We expect those smaller fish as best as possible. So I'm a member of, or a participant of, the striped bass bonus program for a long time. I haven't used the tag in a few years. I just get it and keep it. I don't support the bonus program. So crucify me now or later, but that's my take. But yes, I will be voting or publicly commenting to status quo in these meetings coming up for the reasons I mentioned. I feel that we have a very restrictive measure right now. The large portion of anglers that I see want to catch a fish and want to keep a fish here and there. A lot of people want to catch or release fish, which is, I would say, the majority. But within that majority, there are a number of anglers that go fishing to catch one here, catch one there. They're not looking to harvest a fish every single day. But I would say that the majority of my anglers, my customers of anglers in the area, are looking to catch fish and keep one here, keep one there, say 1 or 2 a season for table fare. Would they go fishing if you could not keep one? I don't know that answer. I should probably do a survey. It would be nice to see. But if it is closed, it's sort of I think a double-edged sword to see if they're going to close it to harvest, meaning you cannot keep a fish, you can only catch and release, or if they will close it to all, say target, so no catch and release, no harvest, so no target or no harvest. That's kind of a double-edged sword right now. It seems to me that they're looking to close both the spring and the fall. With that said, that would be a pretty big, say, change, closing the spring and fall. From what I saw, and I don't have those data, I'm just going off the top of my head here. I went to the advisory board meeting last week, and there was very poor attendance within the advisory board. I think there was maybe, I don't know, 7 or 8 people there, other than the state representatives. I was kind of disappointed in that front, but it looks that we'll probably have wave 2 and wave 4, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I know there's talk about closing wave 2 and 5, which would be a disaster. A wave is a 2-month period. You have basically January, February's wave 1, so March and April wave 2, that would be closed. And then if it was wave 5, that would be November, December. So imagine closing out March and April, imagine closing out the end of the season. So basically you're closing out the beginning of spring and the end of fall. I don't see how that doesn't really sit well with me. I mean, New Jersey, as far as North Jersey, South Jersey, is 2 radically different areas. South Jersey is much different than North Jersey. We don't really get the fish in the fall until really late November. Yes, there's fish taking place, but as far as the run goes, it's all late season, especially where I'm at in South. North Jersey, they got really a year long. The spring's awesome. Sometimes all summer can be good. And the fall can be strong just about the entire time from early to late. And that's really influenced from Raritan Bay and the Hudson River there. The whole New York Bight is a pretty awesome striped bass fishery. I really didn't plan on going in the weeds this far, but I'm kind of walking and talking, so I just did what I did. I think there's better places for this information. I would suggest checking out Jim Hutchinson's recent video. He's a New Jersey angler. He's been involved in fisheries for a long time. Jim threw up a video just recently throwing in some information, some data, because he's behind a computer. He's got some information there. It's a much better way of providing it to you than me just walking and talking off the top of my head. I'm going to assume that everything I said was pretty doggone accurate. There might be something that I skewed a little bit or said something wrong. If so, my mistake. But definitely check out Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Commission for the detailed addendum, and that's really the document that we need to comment on. There's a lot of different comment sections with regards to when striped bass should be tagged in terms of commercial sector. I personally believe the commercial quota should be held. I especially believe that Massachusetts quasi-commercial fishery should be adjusted. I don't believe that New Jersey anglers should be able to go up to Massachusetts and buy a permit, and I've got friends that do it, to go harvest big striped bass. I think that's just a disaster, personally, for the state of the stock that we're in here. That's to me, we need to protect those bigger fish. To me, we need to protect call the weekend warrior commercial guys, sort of garage band outfits. I feel for those commercial anglers that are truly commercial anglers that are full-time fishermen that support their family and their way of life with fishing. I wish there was a way to subsidize them in this time. But the Massachusetts commercial season, I'm not a big fan of. Like I said before, I think it should be a coast-wide game fish. New Jersey did that years ago, and I think that other states should follow. As far as that whole scene goes, that's kind of my point. Like I said, check out Atlantic States Marine Fisheries Council. Marine Fisheries Commission. You got a website there, ASMFC. I think it's .org.com, whatever. But check out Jim's video. There's other sources. You'll find information out there. Be sure to read. Be sure to listen, and soak it all in and take your own comments. Once again, my take is status quo for at this point in time, and I believe that that's the best plan of attack. And I believe we'll see information that comes out in that 2026 stock assessment that will then be taking an adjustment at that point with the newest information. I think if we take those closures now, we're still going to have that information come out in 2026 that will not be adjusted by much from these, say, emergency actions or adjustments or closures. And then we'll be just taking another cut on another cut on another cut. And that's kind of what's happened with this Magnuson-Stevenson's Act over the years. The better the fishing is, the more we go and catch, the more we our effort is higher, our fishing mortality is higher, what we harvest is higher, what we catch release is higher, and they shut the fishery down or restrict or cut back. So yeah, I think I've talked about this enough. I appreciate anybody who's stuck on this long. Crucify me now or later in the comments. Appreciate all you guys for watching. That's my take. Once again, it's Greg at Fisherman's Headquarters. Have a great day.